Hey YouTube, hope everybody is doing well. I decided just to come this week to kind of do a little video because of the day that's coming up, National Coming Out Day, October 11th, if you don't know. So I wanted to share my coming out story for those who have asked me and stuff to give our coming out stories. So she's not here, but I'll start. I think well, I'll start is I always knew, ever since I was younger, that I didn't exactly feel the same way as the other females that I was friends with or in the same community with, classes, groups, whatever. So I know we talk about boys, and I used to have all the boys on my wall, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees. Pretty much if it was a boy band, it was on my wall at one time. So I followed along, and I think they were cute and get all giggly like the other girls that were around me. However, still, when they would talk about their crushes on other boys, I just didn't feel the same way. So I would say I felt that way, but I really, really still felt like something was a little bit off. And then one of the things that I could remember the most is I was watching this wonderful movie, Clueless. Hope you guys have all seen that. And Stacey Dash, character Dion. Now, when I say I was obsessed with that movie, I was obsessed with her. Pretty much, that was it. And at that time, I didn't know what it was. I was just like, oh, I love her braids. She's so pretty. The outfits, oh my goodness. I just thought I wanted to be her. But no, I was in love with her, which I later found out. So I would kind of tell my mom, and I know at one time she would be like, okay, she's pretty, okay, but didn't really understand, or maybe she understood before I did. But that was the first thing when I started noticing. I would always find myself being very attracted to other females, but not knowing if it was just because I really liked their style and things about them and just really liked their personality. But I always rather be around females than males. So I did date in high school, having two boyfriends. One that was probably a more serious boyfriend, which I would consider a more serious boyfriend, in high school. And still, it was like being really close and friends with someone and liking someone so much, but still never getting those butterflies and that feeling. And I just kind of went with it. So I really thought something was wrong with me. And then the wonderful world of college. So I went to the University of Delaware. I was part of the gospel choir, which I forgot to mention. Throughout high school, I went to lots of high schools because we moved around a lot. But I was always in honors, honors classes, did well, cheerleading, Christian clubs. I was in church all the time. My mommy's a minister. If you didn't see that other video when I talked about being Christian and gay, you should watch it. So yeah, my mom's a minister, so I was in church all the time for everything. So when I went to college, I immediately went to any Christian organization and I kind of joined because that's what I was comfortable with. At that time, I was still trying to figure out what was going on inside of me. I still felt like something was off and something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. So I started to internalize that, and I became a very angry person. And this actually started a little bit in my high school years. Nobody knew, but unfortunately my mother and in the home, because that's where I showed my anger. Outside of the home, I wore so many masks, nobody would ever know anything was wrong. But I just became really angry and really, really, I guess you would say depressed or really sad for a while, and I didn't know what that was all about. So I carried that with me to college. I went into my dorm. When I set it up, I remember I still put up all these posters like everybody does when they go to college. Still kind of like some of the boy band people or anybody who was mature, but males. And that changed later on, which I started realizing something was up. So, like I said, sorry, I'm going all over the place. I was part of the gospel choir and Christian clubs. Knew something was still off. Not very happy inside, but trying to still make the best of my college experience freshman year. And then I met the first openly lesbian female that I knew, who's actually one of my really good friends still today. So I remember I was like very curious, always curious about people and their lives, but her was a little bit more curious. So I was asking all these questions like, how did you know? You know, do you like girls? Did you ever date boys? So on and so on. And I remember her bringing to my knowledge, like, you're asking a lot of questions, more than the average person would ask. And then she threw the question back on me, like, well, who do you date or who do you like? And immediately I was like, oh no, I date boys. But even when I said that, everything kind of felt wrong there. And then from that moment on is when I started to kind of put the pieces to the puzzle together. And I realized, okay, maybe this is what it is, you know? Like maybe these attractions, things about wanting to be around females more, my little celebrity crushes that I thought I just wanted to be like them, starting to all make sense. And at that same time, I had realized as I was like looking on my college dorm walls that it went from like all these boy band, boy teeny bopper people to suddenly was like pictures of like just Beyonce and Alicia Keys and these different beautiful women. And I didn't even realize that that had changed until I looked at it that day. And I was like, all right, I need to kind of figure something out. So, that's probably when I really noticed and it all clicked. So maybe nothing's wrong with me, and maybe this has been it the whole time. So I came to terms with it at that exact moment. It made sense, but I still had never dated a female. I still barely dated at all. At this point, I wasn't doing that well in school. I was still trying to figure out things with myself. So I went from like past the 4 point, I don't even remember, it was like a 4 point some two maybe because of my honors classes and different things, GPA, to barely passing my classes. Because this internal struggle was so deep that I didn't realize how much it was affecting me until it all started kind of coming up and coming out. Um, so then I started doing what every good lesbian or gay boy does when they don't really know other gays and lesbians, and you go online. Anybody who was gay, I was trying to meet them, pretty much. And that's how I kind of started meeting my first gay people. That's how I met the first girlfriend that I dated. And actually, a lot of friends that I still have today, I kind of met online. And then my college experience from that point on was pretty difficult. I didn't know if it was me or if it was other people, but I felt people that were like part of the Christian organizations I was part of kind of start being standoffish from me. I joined a club at the University of Delaware called Haven, which is my first LGBT family, and different people who gave me support. So I noticed people start separating, but I was gaining other friends. And I don't know if it was me and I was backing up from my like other friends that I had because I felt uncomfortable, or if it was them. I still question that to this day. Because when you're dealing with a lot of stuff, sometimes you don't realize that you actually start pulling away, even if you think it's other people. And that's kind of what I thought, maybe, at that time. So then I came out to my mom. She said everything correctly that a young person needs to hear when they come out to their parents. I had called her on the phone. She was out of town. And I started crying immediately. And I'm breathing hard. And I'm like, Mom, I have something to tell you. She's probably worried. She's like, what's going on? Breathe. What's going on? And I tell her, and she was like, honey, calm down. We'll talk about it when I get home. Just know I love you, and I'm always going to love you. And I needed that, because if not, I was about to have an anxiety attack, panic attack, and I didn't know what was going to go on. So she said the right words. However, then that woman got home, and she came home, and everything she said, all comforting on the phone, had went right out the window. So the person I was dating at that time, unfortunately, got the brunt of her anger. My mom thought it was that person's fault. She thought it was her fault. She thought she manipulated me. She changed me. She took away her good Christian girl, and she made her this big gay female, and she thought it was her fault. She wasn't happy with me. She didn't want my little sister to be around me because she didn't want me putting that lifestyle around my sister. Needless to say, it was a hard time. So we drifted from being so close. We drifted for a while. It sucked. It really sucked. I didn't really have the support from family. She told my pastor at the time. I came to her house one day, and the pastor and his wife were on the couch waiting for me. I thought it was about to be like some intervention. They were sweet talking to me, but I could tell that it still wasn't a good thing. So I ended up stepping down from singing praise choir and going to that church because I now felt uncomfortable. So thank God for my brother and my sister. I love them. My brother and my sister Maya, who knew at the time, they just supported me. My brother told my mom, like, I refuse to listen to what you're saying about my sister. She's the same person she was before. I'm going to love her regardless. My sister always supported me. So I needed that. So they were my family support. That helped me, but I was still lost throughout this time. Because now I was battling internally between my spiritual self, my religious self, my Christianity, and coming out as a queer female. And that wasn't an easy process for me. I would wake up every morning, I would like pray, and I would pray to God that, Lord, if this is not of you, I don't want to do anything to displease you. Please take it away from me. This attraction to females, if this is not who I'm supposed to be, take it away. And I would wake up, and before I opened my eyes, I knew my Beyonce poster was in front of me, and I would say, please let it be gone. And I would hope when I opened my eyes that when I looked at Beyonce, I would just see a picture of a female and not think anything of it. I'd open my eyes and be like, damn, she's still hot. And I'm still very much attracted to her. Same thing with the other females on my wall. And that went on for a while until eventually I came to the point that I was so depressed. Like I said, I had barely passed throughout college. I was pulling away from my mom, from other friends. I didn't know what to do. And I felt like I wasn't going to make it. I didn't want to pretty much live. I didn't want to live day to day, but I wasn't thinking of being suicidal. I just didn't have the energy to do anything else. So I realized at that point, I prayed. I took a moment between me and God, and I was like, look, this is who I am. And right now, it is detrimental to my sanity, to my health, to everything I've worked so hard for. I'm losing because I don't know what to do with who I am and if it's wrong or if it's right and all of that. So I said at that moment, I was like crying in the bathroom on the floor, and I was like, things have to start to change. And I kind of just told myself, like, look, you've prayed, you've been praying, you've done everything you could to please everybody, every adult in your life, to please God, to be a good person. You're just gonna have to rock out. This is who you are. This is how God made you. If anything is going to change, He'll do it. But for right now, you got to live your life and live it in your honesty. And I told myself that, got out the bathroom, wiped away my tears, and from that point on, I made the decision to be genuine with who I was and my sexuality and every part of Christina that I thought would be shameful to other people. And that helped me a lot. It actually really helped me a lot. Even when other people weren't okay with it, it still helped me have a center so that I could keep moving on and keep being successful and doing what I needed to do. Once I became okay with myself, that's when things got easier. When you can choose your own friends, that come in your life and that'll be supportive, that's what I chose to do, and I did. I went on to graduate school, my first graduate program, my master's. Graduated that almost 4.0, started being successful there, being successful in my life, helping other people, and that really just helped me still walk into my own. Throughout that process, my mom, I guess she was going through her own journey, which I supported, and it got to a point where she realized that how she had felt or thought about things prior was not right. So it made us both more spiritual people and not get bound by religion so much. So we still have strong relationships with God. She's still a minister, but she is supportive and loving and started wanting to work with other LGBT youth that didn't feel comfortable in churches, allowing to open up her home for Bible studies. She became supportive with me. That makes me emotional because it was a process. And I was just so happy that it worked out that way. I was pretty much out to everybody from that moment on that my mom knew. I really didn't really care what other people thought. I just still didn't come out to my dad until probably about maybe like 2.5 years ago. And he's in the military. He was in Iraq around the time that I had came out. I didn't want to give him more stress, and so I just never did it. So I now was a lot more confident, but still scared that he was going to disown me, because sometimes you don't know about those Caribbean people. Those Trinis, you don't know. So anyway, I came out to him, and he's supportive as well. I love him. His family's supportive. My aunt, uncle, cousins, they're just wonderful people, all of them. And I met Steph. Let's say, I mean, I had been dating prior to her, but I met her about 4 years ago, or almost 4 years ago, and we started dating. And I feel like my parents love her more than they love me, which is okay. I don't mind. And it just got better. And for me and my story, things didn't start to get better until I got better for myself, until I accepted who I was born to be, till I accepted that nothing was wrong with me, until I accepted I wasn't going to allow anybody else to make me feel like something was wrong with me. And yeah, that's where I am now. Yeah, no, I'm just happy. I'm happy about my journey. I needed every piece of it to make me who I am today. And now, work for an LGBT agency, part of LGBT organizations, and my goal after my doctoral program is that's what I want to do. I want to work with other LGBT youth and their families and help give support where I could have used it and didn't have to struggle too much earlier, and other people that I've seen struggle. And I just want to give back to that community. So that's what it is. So that was an all over the place coming out story. So that's that. And I gotta go, because I gotta go present and be part of my equality club, which I'm running late for. But if you guys honestly have any questions or comments, or you want to talk about something that happened with your coming out process or something meaningful, please put it in the description box below. Send me a message, butterflyagape@gmail.com. I always respond. And yeah, I want to hear kind of what your process was, or other people that you know. So hope you guys are having a great day. Have a great coming out week. Happy National Coming Out Day when October 11th comes. And that's all. All right, y'all. Bye.